We're going to talk about cell reproduction. There are 3 reasons that cells reproduce. Look at the pictures and try to give me some answers.
For A, I think it's renew.
Okay, or replace. Good. So when cells die, wait till you see in this unit how perfectly organized your cell's function is. And when a cell dies, it needs to be replaced to keep that organization. Yes?
B is allow for growth.
Allow for growth. So you grow because your cells reproduce, and also cells reproduce because things inside of it grow. So it kind of works both ways.
I think for C, form of organism.
Awesome. To make a new organism. Or prepare, you should say. In preparation to form a new organism. As a refresher, I'm going to focus for this whole unit on cell reproduction. But organisms reproduce in a certain way. And I'm just bringing this in. What are the 2 types of way organisms reproduce? Say sexually and asexually. And what's the difference?
Asexual, there's only
one parent, and then one parent actually ends up being 2, right? And this is an example. This is an organism. So it's like cell reproduction because it's a single-celled organism, but it's the organism reproducing from 1 cell to 2. And in sexual, what do you have? 2 parents, and you end up with 1 offspring. And what do they look like in asexual in comparison to the parent? Exactly. They're a replica. And in sexual?
They look like both.
They're a combination. Good. We're going to cover 2 types of cellular reproduction, and then we're going to talk about cancer, which is its own like unique category, which involves cell reproduction in a terrible, terrible, terrible way. But so mitosis and meiosis are the 2 types of cellular reproduction. Anybody know anything about them or can give me? There's a reason why. You should be able to give me these answers because we just covered them. Where does it happen? How many cells are made? And how do they compare to parents?
I think mitosis is like the cycle of making a new cell.
Correct. They both are. So makes 2 cells, correct? Anybody know how many meiosis makes? Try to visualize when you saw the picture.
1.
Nope. Nope. 4. Good. Mitosis, guys, we just covered the reasons for reproduction. There's 3, okay? So, and you see 2 here and 1 here. What's the reason for meiosis? Preparation for what? New organism. So mitosis is going to be what? For what? What are the reasons cells divide?
To replace.
Replace and growth. Okay? Now, has anybody heard of a gamete cell?
Nah.
Nobody?
Gamete? I've heard that. I've heard it.
So gamete cells are actually sex cells. So meiosis cells are in preparation for a new organism, so they're making sex cells. Somatic cells are body cells. Every other cell in your body reproduces through mitosis other than your gamete cells. So if I'm replacing my cell or making a cell to allow for growth, what does the cell look like in comparison to the parent cell? Exactly. How about in meiosis?
Different.
What do gamete cells look like in comparison to the parent cell?
They're different.
How?
Because so gamete cells. So basically, those are like what, like sperm.
Yep.
So like, because every sperm is like a little different.
How?
Oh, they have different chromosomes?
How? What kind of difference?
They have different genetic materials.
What kind? So think about it. I produce a gamete cell and my husband produces a gamete cell.
Won't they have like a different amount of X chromosomes and Y chromosomes?
Correct. It's half, guys. Because those 2 halves will make a whole. Okay? So we'll talk about the amounts later in the next unit, which is genetics, but half the number of chromosomes. All right, so the cell cycle has 3 parts. And I did this whole entire set of notes as an outline. So if you notice, Roman numeral 1, if we go back, because this might work for people for organizing their study. Roman numeral 1 was reasons for reproduction, and then those are the 3 reasons. You start to be able to see test questions. Types of reproduction is number 2. 3 types of cell reproduction, okay? And then 4 is the cell cycle, okay? There's 3 parts to the cell cycle. Look at this diagram and you could tell me what they are.
I think for C, it's cytokinesis.
Cytokinesis for C. That's where the cytoplasm splits.
B is mitosis.
Mitosis or mitotic phase, same thing.
And A is interphase.
And A is interphase, which is the preparation phase for mitosis. And if I gave you this diagram and I asked you what part of the cell cycle takes the longest, what's your answer? Good. And the answer is interphase. What if I asked you what part of interphase is the longest? Good. And that's a little hard to tell, but I won't even ask you that, so we'll take it off. But interphase is the longest part of the cell cycle.